A thrilling exploration of love and desire, obsessive, all-consuming, and impossible to look away from. It's Worry Doll by Laura McPhee-Browne. Hi, I'm Olivia. This is AV Club, where I'm usually talking litfic, horror, weird books, whatever books I want to talk about. And yeah, today a standalone review of a new Australian litfic release, Worry Doll. I have previously loved Cherry Beach, her debut, which was sapphic and yearning, and then Little Plum, which was so different. It was soft and fragile and frail and kind of anxiety ridden about pregnancy. And then we have Worry Doll, which at its most straightforward is about a sapphic age gap romance affair. It is kind of thrilling, and it is so much weirder than it sounds. The book is split into two halves, one from each woman's point of view. The first half, Heloise, the older woman who is from Melbourne, and it's a week in her life. And then the second half, Lacey, after she returns to New Zealand from Melbourne, and a week in her life as well. And this is a book of unreliable narrators in a way that feels creepy and haunting whenever you get to the end of it, but you don't really know during the reading how weird it's going to get. This book has a shockingly low average rating on Goodreads right now, which isn't everything, but does help people decide if they want to pick up a book or not. So hopefully I can convince you, if this is a book for you, to go ahead and pick it up, because for me, this was a 5-star read. I absolutely loved this book. It's so complicated and exactly not exactly what I wanted, because I didn't know that it was this. It was so surprising. So surprising. Never knew where it was going, and so complicated. Just exactly what I needed, but didn't know that I wanted or needed. This book has two people who are attracted to each other, but are also very much at odds with each other. Heloise is 11 or 12 years older than Lacey, and she meets her on a train by accident. And Heloise is married, and she loves her husband, which really complicates this further, that she has started this affair with Lacey, and she is thinking about her all the time. She is addicted to her phone, addicted to the feeling of getting a text from Lacey. She just like craves her all the time, and she knows she shouldn't feel this way, but she doesn't want to stop. And she feels bad for what she's doing to her husband. And I think that's where a lot of people are going to get caught, because a lot of people really don't want to read about an affair. Just point blank don't want to read about affairs. And this book is like not about holding your hand and moralizing relationships. It is about the complexity of relationships, the complexity of memory, and the things that we remember or forget, that we want to cling to or to abandon based on what we want, what will make us most comfortable. Both of these women are very messed up in their ways. I don't want to spoil anything that happens in this book, but dark things happen in Heloise's personal life in ways that she wants Lacey even more. There is an 18-month break in the middle of this book between when we get the week in Heloise's life and when we get the week in Lacey's life when she's back in New Zealand. So I don't want to tell you like how that first half ended, but Lacey goes back and she is like still haunted by her first big relationship, and she sees her old girlfriend Dale there again in when she's back in New Zealand, and re-examining that relationship, how it's affected her. Heloise has also had this continuing unraveling of her memories of her mother, the loss of her mother, the grief over her mother, who died in it really tragically whenever Heloise was an infant, whenever she was a child. That she says it was whenever she was born. Heloise is kind of clinging to this grief, and it impacts the decisions that she's making. And then Lacey is abandoning things and running far away from things that she doesn't want to look at any further. Both of the timelines excitedly have a pet cat that each of them have a pet cat that they relate to and that they are thinking about and that have beautiful characterization as well. So if you're a cat lover, I do think that you will appreciate that in this book. But the book deals so much about perception and reality and memory and what is ultimately true. Both of them are such unreliable narrators, but they're both so convincing. Whenever you get to the end of Heloise's section, you think one way about the situation, and then you read Lacey's, and she's just completely different, and her account of things is so completely different. And whenever you get to the end of Lacey's, I had to go back and just like immediately start rereading Heloise's chapters, being like, wait, what was actually going on there? What was real? Who am I supposed to trust? Both of you are confusing me a lot, but you're both very compelling characters, and they're both dark, and there is like this creepy undercurrent to the book that I really loved, that it is thrilling in a way that I don't want to spoil anything that happens, but it is also just so beautifully written. Look at how many tabs I have in this book. Like, I just absolutely loved it. Also, I did my nails to match it. What do you think? But so many tabs. Love doesn't have to be earned over time. It can be quick and it can flicker strong, as if in a cathedral. Heloise decides to cut herself a fringe. It's too hot to do this, and she knows it will be crooked and she will regret it, but she feels like punching at the day with her fist to see if it bruises. And the yearning, oh my gosh. She doesn't want Lacey to be sorry. She wants Lacey to want her, to never have to say sorry because she has never ripped herself away. Lacey's section, a little bit less flowery. She has such a different voice, and Lacey's frequently having to deal with painful menstruation, and she's forgotten to pack ibuprofen, Advil, whatever. Years of menstruation of monthly torment has not meant she is prepared for it. She respects she is rebelling against the need to plan for pain so often, with a level of responsibility she feels no one should have. That is just like so relatable for me, that it's like if you plan for pain, then you are welcoming it into your life. Gosh, it is just like such a beautifully written book. It's beautifully written, expertly written. Loved how different the characters were, and were truly compulsive. I adored reading this. And if you too loved reading this and you're thinking, what else should I read? I think any of the Any or No books about having affairs and romance, that really like all encompassing obsession type of romance, love. Love is a different word really than what it is, because it is so much like sexual obsession at times. I really think that you must read the Any or No books. And then because the narratives are so different between the characters, I think Heloise would have loved reading The Swift Dark Tide by Aotearoa. This is also an Australian book. This is a memoir about an affair that a married woman has. She's married to a man. She's always been in heterosexual relationships, and starts having an affair with a woman and leaves her family, her husband and child, for this woman. And it's about that affair. I didn't love this book because I do feel like it was like a little bit too um back patting, I guess, about that she was just like following herself to leave her family for this affair. But I think Heloise would do the same. I think Heloise would have loved this book. And many other people do enjoy this book, so it might be for you. It just wasn't for me. I think Lacey might relate to Writers and Lovers by Lily King, which is about a girl in her university years who had this promising career as a tennis player, but now is kind of caught in a love triangle, a heterosexual love triangle in Boston, and figuring herself out, figuring out her work, her art, while managing these relationships and figuring out who she really is, and just being in a very messy time period. I think Lacey would like this one. And then a book that I could just recommend at any time, Fingersmith by Sarah Waters. I think if you want a weird, creepy thriller, sapphic relationship. I don't know exactly why I feel compelled to recommend this in tandem, but I do think If you love Worry Doll, then you'll love Fingersmith. This one is historical, but it makes sense to me. Also plays so much with what you know and don't know and what you assume to be true. And, you will be surprised in Fingersmith, hopefully just as much as I was surprised with Worry Doll. This book will definitely be making my end of the year best of list, and I just hope people pick up this book. It just recently came out in Australia in the past couple weeks. I think it's coming out in Europe and UK soon, if it's not already out. And I think in the US, it might be a book of the month exclusive. However, I think it's like not even a book of the month pick, just somehow there's like a marketplace add-on books. I think that might be the only way that you can get it in the US without importing it. But yeah, please read this book. Talk to me about this book. Chef's kiss. She never lets me down, and I think this is her best book yet. And also, just shout out to the cover designer, because I think that this is one of the best book covers of the year. So, thank you for joining me today, and I will be back to talk about books again very soon. Until next time, bye.